breathing or if you stop smiling, it doesn't count. Stand tall, breathing big, big smile, looking at the ceiling. That's right, and get depressed without changing. All right, well, if you can't change, then just stay happy and sit down. Now, here's my point. You might say, what does this got to do with state management? Are you saying every time I don't feel good, I should stand up tall, stare and grin at the ceiling? Yes. No, there are many ways to do this, but this is one. My point is this. How come when you stand tall and you breathe and you have this big grin on your face, how come you don't feel depressed? The answer is because it's pretty difficult because you're sending a totally different message to your brain. See, the way we move our facial muscles, the way we gesture, the way we physically walk, the pace at which we talk, all of these things determine how we feel in any given moment. If you don't like the way you're feeling, rather than trying to pump yourself up intellectually going, oh, I feel good, I feel good, I feel good, or doing much affirmations where I feel good, I feel good, I feel good, I feel good, and your brain goes, BS. That's not enough. What you've got to do is change the way you're moving. I mean, think about it. When you were growing up, didn't you have a parent that told you, hey, look, if you're depressed, go do something? Why did that work? Because when you go do something, you change the way you move, you change the way you breathe, you change what you're focusing on and what you're paying attention to, and whammo, you have an emotional change, a state change, if you will. So I want you to realize the power of your own physical body. Listen, 6 years ago when I was struggling, I had no idea the power of my body. I was at the effect. But you know what? I still use these tools. I just used them in the wrong way. Hey, listen, you already know the power of your body. When you don't like the way you feel, what do you usually do? I'll tell you what most Americans do. They do something to change the way they feel by changing their body, by changing their biochemistry. What do? They do things like drink alcohol. Why? Because the minute you drink alcohol, does it change your state? You bet. Do you behave differently when you're in a different feeling state? You better believe it. He goes, yeah, man, I sure do. The bottom line is you changed your biochemistry. As soon as you do that, that was changing physiology, and your emotions and feelings and behaviors change instantly. Now, a lot of people in our society, when they don't like how they feel, they change their body and change the way they feel by using cigarettes. They smoke, and therefore they breathe differently. When they breathe differently, they feel differently. When they feel differently, they behave differently. So they don't like how they're feeling. They're feeling a little tight. They're feeling a little frustrated. They're feeling a little stressed. They smoke a cigarette, and they think the cigarette makes them feel better. What makes them feel better is the fact that they're taking nice, deep, slow breaths. Why not try it without the cigarette? What a concept. Amazing. Bottom line is you can change just by changing your breathing alone. Now, what else do we do? Well, a lot of people, when they don't like the way they feel, what do? They eat. Now they go, God, I don't feel good, and they eat. And then they get fat, and they look in the mirror, and they don't like how they look. That makes them feel worse. So they don't like the way they feel, so they eat some more. Right? And then they're caught up in that loop again. Have you ever been there? So food is another way we try and change our physical body in order to do it. Some people just go to sleep. And some people do things like go shopping or watch TV, but we're going to talk about that in your next tape. Those are people that are changing what they're focusing on. But the primary way most of us try and change how we feel is by changing the way we use our physical body. Drugs is the most obvious example. We've already talked about that. Cocaine. Why? Because it changes their state rapidly. That's why people still purchase it even though it destroys their life simultaneously. They don't focus on that. The point is, any change in your physical body makes an immediate radical change in the way that you feel. So what you've got to learn to do is use this to your advantage. Instead of being at the effect of things, immediately change your emotions. So right now, let me give you a frame of reference about what I'm saying. I learned a long time ago that if I really wanted to succeed on an ongoing basis, I probably needed to measure my level of emotion, my level of intensity. I got a lot of this by working with professional athletes. I noticed that most athletes are really conscious of and pay attention to managing their emotions and their states. And you watch a tennis player, and every time before he hits the ball, he bounces the ball the exact same way, the exact same rhythm, kind of anchors himself, if you will, or triggers himself back into state. Football players do it differently. They grab their other buddy's head and they go wham, 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 and smack heads with him, and then they feel good. Baseball players, they spit, grab their legs, scratch the ground, but they do certain things every time to get themselves in state. And as I started to work with professional athletes, people like the Los Angeles Dodgers, or the United States Army, or individual Olympic athletes, every one of them focused on are they ready or not, kind of checking their state. But you see, in life, I think life is not black and white. I look at life as having many hues and colors and shades. So one day I pulled one of these guys aside and I said, look, it's not are you ready or you're not. Let's try a stupid game, okay? Let's pretend we're going to measure your level of power and readiness on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 is you're dead, 10 is you're absolutely unstoppable. I said, where are you on that scale? The guy said, well, I'm about level 7, 6.5, 7. I said, well, you're about to bat right now against Dwight Gooden. Tell me, if you stay at level 7, what's going to happen? You know what was amazing? Instantly he could tell me. When he realized where he was, he said, I'll either ground out or I'll pop up or I'm going to be in a situation where I'm going to strike out. I said, what level do you need to be at on a scale from 0 to 10 to be successful with Dwight Gooden? He said, level 12. I said, okay, that gives me a frame of reference. So you also need to know where you need to be successful. Now, with an athlete, it's pretty clear. For peak performance, they got to be at level 10 or above, if you will, on a scale from 0 to 10. But isn't your life just as important as an athlete's?